Hey guys, it's your girl Simply Lebz and I'm back with another video. If you are a returning subscriber, hey girl, hey, thank you so much for coming back. And if you are a new viewer, please click on the red subscribe button below and join the family. So I got a lot of feedback on my previous video about topics to avoid when meeting up with family or friends and whatnot, and I actually got some few people who said, Lebz, you left out this, you left out that. So I thought, why not do a part 2? I hope you enjoy it. As I said, especially since it's like Christmas time and family time and we'll be gathering, if whether you're with your family, your friends, these are the topics to avoid so that you're not seen as the toxic person, a person who brings down the mood or hurts people's feelings. So these are things to consider and to watch out for. The first one, and I feel like I did have a comment that spoke about this, and I did have someone on WhatsApp talk to me and be like, Lebz, you left out this. I was like, oh my gosh, it completely, like, I do not know how I forgot to mention this, but one of the topics that you should approach with sensitivity or just completely avoid, because girl, that's none of your business, is the whole topic of marriage and kids, especially when a person is like a young adult and they're done with varsity, they're working. Suddenly all these questions come about. You know, when our parents used to be like, focus on school and not on boys, and that's what you did, and you've been like, obviously, and now you're working, and the questions arise of, oh, when are we meeting so and so, when are you introducing some marriage? And it's like, I'm literally trying to survive. I am trying to build my career, or I'm just trying to survive, right? And then people come with those questions. Sometimes it's just in innocent way or jolly way, and obviously you wouldn't take offense, but sometimes people literally come down on you on the topic of marriage and kids. Like, when you're getting married, you're old, now you need to think of your reproductive system. And it's like, okay, it'll happen when it happens. I personally cannot answer to that and be like, yeah, you know, because at the end of the day, that's not where a person is, you know. And then the whole thing of the moment people get married, I do not know why people zone into their family planning now. Like, they just got married, let them enjoy their marriage and do whatever they want, and don't bombard them with family planning questions of, oh, when are you planning to have a little one? And if they say 5 years, that's okay, that's their plan. Don't be counting the years for them and tell them, oh, that means you're going to be old parents, and when you won't get to enjoy your child that much, because when it's time for like school activities of running, you'll be that old parent who looks like a grandparent. So no, but on a serious note, I feel like I think there was a movie, I remember seeing a clip showing this other lady and her boyfriend, so they were getting on the bus, and then the lady is like, oh, to the stranger, she comes up to her and she sits next to her and she's like, oh babe, look at her, she's pregnant, and she starts rubbing her belly, like the stranger's belly, and the lady's just looking at her in shock, like, what is happening? And the lady is like to her boyfriend, oh babe, come see, come touch the stomach, like, can he? And she's like, I'm not pregnant. Do you understand? Like, what do you say after that? Are you like, oh, sorry? Firstly, what were you doing in a stranger's business? Even if they're not a stranger, what are you doing in a person's business? Like, why are you commenting on their stomach, on their babies, if a person is pregnant? Like, I feel like the way that this should be best approached is, wait for the people to tell you that, oh, we are expecting. Don't just jump to conclusions because you see a little pouch on their stomach. They could be bloated. Bloating is a real thing. It's the most realistic thing that could happen to anyone, right? So don't comment on a person's reproductive system based on what you may think it looks like. Just wait for the announcement and congratulate and be happy for them when they do announce, right? So yeah, marriage and kids are a big thing when you're a young adult. Like, it becomes such a huge topic. But yeah, so the second thing, and I saw my cousin actually commented on this, but I went the platonic route, because after making the video, I was like, there's such great points that I could add. And she actually commented on the whole thing of even when you've broken up with a person and people would deliberately ask you like about this person, like, where's so and so. But the way that I had thought about it actually in my notes is when people know that you're no longer friends with a person and they bring them up, and it's, you know, when a person genuinely asks like, how is so and so, and you're like, oh, I don't know, you know. But there's a way that some people ask, like when you know that maybe I don't talk about this person anymore and I used to talk about that itself is a telling sign that, okay, maybe they're not as close, whatnot. And if I haven't told you what has like gone on, or maybe I have, then the follow-ups are really unnecessary. Like, oh, I saw your friend. Okay, you know that we're not friends, so why are you saying my friend? I am guilty of that sometimes. Like, I saw your friend, trying to be spicy. But sometimes that is a no, like, not that it's like, okay, sometimes it can be sensitive, but sometimes it's like, dude, I've moved on from this person, this friendship and whatnot. There really is no need to be asking for updates. There are no updates. I have nothing to say about that. You know, and not in a way that I'm holding a grudge. It's just, no, I've simply moved on, and there's no need. There really is no need about doing follow-ups about a past friendship or whatnot, asking how are they. I wouldn't know. I genuinely wouldn't know, right? And I feel like sometimes people ask this because maybe they might have told you in the beginning, like, this person isn't a friend, you know, and you like avoided that. We're like, oh no, man, they're such a great person, and then things fall out, and then now it's not that it's sort of a I told you so thing, but it's like, what happened to your little friend? But yeah, that can be a sensitive topic for other people. So yeah, try to not ask about people, like if you actually know that this person is no longer in a person's life, then yeah. And then thirdly, I thought about the whole thing of how people deem your success or your growth, right? And that could go two ways. Well, materialistic sense, that when you meet up with family or friends and then they'll be like, oh, how many years have you been working now? And then you say, you know, because it's a question that people ask, you know. And then the next thing would be, oh, when are you getting a car? When are you getting a house? That could go two ways, because sometimes it could genuinely be a question that a person is asking, like, because they know you're doing, like, oh, girl, what's the next step? You know, I see you doing girl boss moves, girl moves. That's great. So what are your next steps? That's fine. I wouldn't be offended by that. But then the thing that gets to people, or that is more sensitive, is when maybe you don't have a relationship like that with that person, or the way that they are. Always say that the tone of a person is very telling of the information or the sincerity out of the question, right? So now if they ask you like, oh, you know, people your age, or are in their second car, or they've bought property, they're not renting, why would you waste money renting instead of buying a house? Like that, okay, now that is problematic, because you're not gonna count my coins for me and make plans about the money that I make, right? There is a way to ask, like, oh, like, are you looking for cars, whatever, whatever, and then you'd be like, yeah, or no, actually, I'm not there yet. I'm still saving for a car, or whatnot, you know? And then you move on swiftly. There's no drama, there's no person being hurt, or feel like, oh, this is an invasive question, you know? And with that said, I feel like it should be known that there is no right or wrong answer that a person gives. Whatever answer that they give with these two things, whether it's a car or housing, it's based on their personal needs and personal goals at the time. If you feel like renting is a waste of money, good on you, homeowner. We are happy for you. If you feel like owning a house is too much work, you don't want all that responsibility, you want to be renting because you want to move around from place to place, good on you, happy chappy renter. Like, that is still good, whatever decision you make. If you feel like, actually, I'm not looking at cars right now because in the next few years I actually want to relocate, I don't want to I don't want to be dealing with this, or actually I'm fine with Ubers for now, I can get around where I need to go, or I'm simply just saving for that car, whatever car that I'm saving for, that's also an acceptable answer. And I think people need to understand this. And I don't know, I just think right now things are different to how it used to be. And I never want to downplay how things used to be in the past and say, oh, but people used to be buying cars left, right. I don't know. You know, when you look at something with an eye of a child, things seem very easy, very doable, because I'm thinking like a child. I'm not calculating the responsibilities that a person has. So I cannot say, as much as things were relatively cheaper back in the day, it does not mean that they had to save or do all those things that we are currently doing now as adults, right? So our parents also had to save. They also had to look at the pros and cons of everything. And we can't say just because today things are super expensive, that means our parents basically got no, they worked hard for what they have, the houses that they have, the bonds that they pay, the cars that they pay. It's all relative in the time that you live in, right? So don't do that. Don't be a person who counts people's money and budgets on their behalf and see what you could do with their money if you were in their shoes. You're never going to be living their life. Like, in a sense, like, you might look at me and be like, oh, I'd be doing this and this. Okay, but it's my life. I will be doing as I see fit. Obviously asking for good and sound advice from people who have done the things that I plan to attain and whatnot. So yeah, that is it. I think I only had those 3 points, but guys, I do enjoy the interaction and the comments. I really appreciate engagement and comments. And if you notice, I will like respond the moment that I see a comment. Oh, girl, I'll respond to you, because I feel like we're having a little nice chat. So if you do have any more topics that you think people need to steer away from or need to approach with sensitivity, then do write them below. But yeah, this is my part 2 of things to avoid when meeting up with family or friends that can really put a damper on the mood of the festivities, or just cause a person to retract from all the fun activities and being lively. So don't be that person. Don't be the party pooper. This is a time to spend with family and friends. Have a great time. Enjoy each other's company. Bond. And just create the best memories. So I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.